Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the LaunchDay podcast. I'm your host, Dean Cvetkoski, a.k.a. WhoDean. Let me tell you guys, today in studio, I have a very special guest. It's very unconventional, right? So when we think of business, we think of someone starting a plumbing business, some kind of e-commerce store. You know, we think of people that are like starting a law firm, you know, getting into some kind of trade. You know what I mean? There's so many different business types that are out there, but I'm actually here to enlighten you today. Today on the podcast, we have a gentleman, and I say gentleman because he is a gentleman, absolutely. He's a Canadian gentleman. So yes, guys, we're interviewing overseas right now, which is fantastic. Our first overseas guest. He goes by the name of Lyle Taylor, but he's better known as Mizu, the live stream gamer. He's got, over 100,000 followers on Facebook and TikTok and all the platforms and everything like that. And he is an absolute maverick in his field. Lyle, how you going?
I'm good, Dean. How are you?
Man, I am brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm thriving. That's a better way to put it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely, man. It's always a good time, whether it's with me or with you. So for those that are wondering, if you jump on Facebook, yes, right now, jump on Facebook, open the app, unless you're driving or in the shower. That's a bit weird, but
Lots of people watch my content in the shower, so at this point, I'm used to it,
That's kind of weird, man. I'm not going to lie.
It is a little bit weird. Yeah, it is a little weird. I want to say about like 20% of the people who watch me are probably on the toilet while they watch me. So you just think about all the naked people looking at
Okay,
you.
so that I can relate to, being on the on the toilet. This is the king's throne, right? Like, so this is my peace, right? This is my time, right?
Yeah.
But the shower, I think it's like borderline.
It is a little weird. If you're listening to this podcast in the shower right now, you need to reevaluate what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, hey, look, we've got to consider the fact that maybe they're looking for efficiency with their time. But look, we're not judging, all right?
There's that one guy in the shower right now. He's like, oh, they're talking about me.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. But listen, no matter where you are right now, what I want you to do is I want you to jump on Facebook and I want you to type in your search bar, Mizu, that's M-I-Z-U, Mike India Zulu uniform, if you need it phonetically. And if you can't find it straight away, then I want you to type in Rocket League, right? Or Mizu RL, one of those, right? And when that comes up, you'll see Mizu, you'll see his crazy face on there. He looks, absolutely brilliant here in studio, and he looks absolutely insane online. I love his persona that he has. I want you to follow him. And there's a reason why I want you to follow him, because I actually want you to take note. Because there's so many ways that you can diversify your income right now by setting something up you do in your spare time. Now, for Lyle here, he's been doing that. He's now, how long you been full-time now?
3 years.
3 years full-time in live stream gaming, right? 3 years full-time in live stream gaming. For you, what's to say you can't make an extra $500 a month, $100 a month, $200 a month? What I'm talking about audience here too, right, Lyle? Our audiences, what's to say you can't make a couple of extra $100 a month by live stream gaming or doing some other kind of entertainment online in a live stream? So I'm always looking at ways that we can add more profits and revenue into the activities that we do. And if you're playing games on a weekend with the boys, or girls, right? What's to say that you can't live stream it and earn a little bit of coin along the way? Yes, it takes hard work. Yes, it takes a bit of time. I'm sure we'll get stuck into that a little bit later. But what's to say you can't? And that's why I want you to go and follow him, because what I want you to do is I want you to analyze and look at what this brilliant young man is doing. I say that like he's, not much, younger than me, right? But I want you to look at what he is doing, and I want you to see and take notes, because this is going to be an absolutely powerful podcast. You're going to learn so much more in this podcast than you ever have about the online world, the gaming world, and how that is a business model that you may want to consider and maybe you should consider. So, Lyle, listen, man, how about let's get started with how you got into live stream gaming. Tell me about that.
That is a little bit of a funny story. So I do both live stream gaming and professional gaming, and I've always pursued my dream of being a professional video game player. And I got pretty good at a certain video game called Rocket League, which is the game now that I stream. And I wanted to make more money playing the game. I was playing it 6 to 8 hours a day every day and wasn't making much from it because, I wasn't at the top of my game at the time. And I was like, how can I diversify my income within Rocket League? Because right now it's just from winning tournaments or getting money from certain teams that I signed for. So I kind of looked at the market and I looked for where there was a gap where I could fill in. And for me, that was Facebook. Now, a lot of people go, oh, why do you stream on Facebook? Well, everyone's over on Twitch. That's the number one streaming platform. But there was no one of my caliber in skill in the game over on Facebook. And I knew there was a lot of people over there that have never seen a high-level player in the video game that I played. So I just went to Facebook and took it from there. And it turned into what it's turned into now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So when did you actually get started with Rocket League? Was it something like growing up, through adolescence, you were playing the game? I mean, how did you sort of grow into that?
Yeah, so I've always played high-level sports. I played a lot of soccer and baseball growing up. I'm a super competitive person even today. And when Rocket League came out in 2015, I played it a little bit and immediately fell in love. And so I kind of just played it casually for fun. Obviously, casually for me is still competitive. But I got a decent rank in it over the course of 3 years. And then eventually I ended up wanting to go pro in it because I reached a certain rank. And I was like, I want to do this. I'm competitive and I want to make it to the top of my game. But yeah, just when I saw the game come out, I immediately played it. It caught my eye personally.
So hold on, you played professional soccer. I find that interesting because so did I.
Well, not professional, but like I grew up playing high level until the age of 18 and I quit.
So when you say high level, like what's high level?
I played in the highest league that I could play in where I live in British Columbia, called the BCSPL, or the British Columbia Soccer Premier League. And so I played as a goalkeeper for one of the teams there.
You're kidding me, right? Dude, I was serious. A keeper. So
really?
yeah. So I played at it's a bit of a complicated one. I kind of quit at age around 14, 15. And the craziest thing, so I played professional soccer. I played for, a state division, et cetera, and so on. It's a whole fucking mess to it, right? Realistically though, I got what's the word I'm looking for? Scholarship to go to the Australian Goalkeepers Academy. And for anyone at age 12, 13, that's fucking brilliant. And what their comments were specifically, I find it hilarious, was that I was playing like their under 16 Socceroos. So they're under 16 players for the Socceroos, the Australian team. At age 12, 13, my goalkeeping skills was equivalent to that 16-year-olds at that age, right? My fucking idiot ass, you know what I did?
What?
Dude, I go to my mom, I go, I don't want to be a goalkeeper. I want to be a striker.
Dude, I'm the same way. I want to be a striker too. I feel like every goalkeeper wants to be a striker at heart. I feel like that's just how it is.
100%, man. I'm sick of saving goals. I want to score some to win some games, Yeah. Oh man, it was just so funny. But like, I find it like so interesting how there's so many similarities, and we're only just getting the conversation started, right? So I feel like this is going to be a really good one. Man, that kind of blows me away. So all right, so you were a keeper. Did you stay as keeper, or did you sort of move into other positions as well, or?
So I actually started as a striker, and then when I was about anywhere between the age of like 8 to 10, somewhere in there, they were like, "We need a goalkeeper. You're tall, go in net." And so I did, and they were like, "You're really good at goalie." So I was like, "Okay." And then they just kept like bumping me up divisions, because every team needed a good goalie, and I just kept going up and up and up and up and up until I got to literally the best division that you can be in British Columbia. And little side note, it was really cool. I got to play against Alphonso Davies before he went to Bayern Munich, because he was also in Vancouver, right? And he's the same age as myself. So I got to play against him when he was with the Whitecaps Pure Residency program, which was really cool, because the team that I played on was the best team in British Columbia for our league. So we actually played against the Whitecaps Pure Residency program of the same age, whereas every other team played the year younger, because the Whitecaps for the MLS, their pre-residency program is really good. So I got to play against him before he went overseas, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like, for me, there's a few people in the family. I got trained by, when I was training. So, yeah, it was funny. So I went from Australian Goalkeepers Academy. I ended up declining it. I moved away from goalkeeping, went into, basically either a right wing or a striker. And we had a really fucking solid team, man. I had an Argentinian coach where Maradona was his idol. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like massively. Like this guy would push and push and push. I remember like finishing training and going home and like literally falling asleep in the shower. Like that's how fucking tired I was.
Oh yeah. I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah. 100%. So I moved from that. I went into into those positions, and I actually got trained by Tommy McCullough, he's an ex-Socceroo. So he played for the Australian team. I got training directly from him. And yeah, man, I remember, like, maybe you can brush on this yourself as well, but I remember being on the field anytime that I was there. Literally, these teams' coaches had to choose, like, that they said to people, all right, 2 people on that man at all times. You are not to let him get through, because they were just every single time. Yeah. Man, it was sick. I was like, man, imagine like 13, 14-year-old me, right?
Yeah, you felt like the guy.
Yeah. And they're like, stay on number 12, stay on number 12. And I'm like, I'm looking around like, oh, wait, shit, that's my number on the jersey. And I was so used to being number 1, right? Because I was the keeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was such an interesting experience, man. You're actually making me sort of relive some of my childhood, which is great.
That's awesome. Wait, how old are you, Dean?
How old am I? I'm 27.
Yeah. And how tall are you?
174 centimeters.
I'm gonna need feet. How many? How tall are you?
I forget. Yeah, Canadians are like halfway between America and the British side of things, right?
Let me answer that for you, actually. So, anything to do with sports and kind of being involved with sports.
I'm looking it up now, by the way. But go on.
Yeah. Anything that's involved with in sports, because we have such a heavy influence from America. That's the imperial system. But anything outside of that is metric. So when you're driving, it's kilometers an hour. But when you're throwing a baseball, it's miles per hour. So your height is directly related to sports. So we go by feet. Weight in the gym, because it's gym stuff, we go by pounds. But anything that's like a certain distance, we go by meters.
Okay, you're hurting my head.
Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. You want to run me through it again?
Anything that's sports related is imperial. That's just what I found. Like, that's not an actual thing, but that's what I found to be true. So like, I know miles per hour when it comes to like ball movement, because I played baseball as a pitcher. So like when I play Rocket League, I have it set to miles per hour for the goals, even though I'm Canadian, right? Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, then you're lost.
It makes sense, but it's not supposed to make sense. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying. I know. No, that doesn't make sense, man. Can you repeat?
Oh my goodness, dude. Gosh. This is killing me. It's seriously killing me. I'm trying to... Anyway, so answer your question. 5'8.5". So 5'8", roughly. Yeah.
5'8", and you were a goalkeeper at 5'8".
Yeah. I was actually shorter, man. But you know what? So in high school, I played a lot of basketball too. So I played a lot of different sports. Basically anything with a ball, I was really fucking good at.
You're good with balls then.
For sure. Right? But because like I was good with basketball, I spent a lot of time doing like, jump training to get really good height. But even when I was like 12, 13, I could touch the top of the goal, no problem. Like I could jump up without any effort and block it. I could also leap from one side of the goal to the other without a problem. So I was very, very good with legs. So long jump, I was brilliant. High jump, I was brilliant. I was setting records in those athletic events. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of that. in terms of me being a goalie. So I might have been short, but I had some really good legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is surprising to me because you said you're still 5'8" and you're an adult. Like, I've never heard of a goalkeeper being below like 6 foot. Like, for me, I'm 6'2".
Of course,
so
you
like
are.
every goalkeeper that I know that like I grew up with, by the age of 16, we were all 6 foot plus.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You're 8'2".
No, 9'2".
Yeah. So 6'2", right? 6'2".
6'2".
Do you want to I have a hard time. I see you on a live.
Oh wait,
stream.
you were being serious when you asked that because you don't realize how tall that is.
Yeah. So 6'2".
Okay. I'll convert it right now. 6'2" to centimeters.
It's 192
100
centimeters. Something
Yeah,
like that.
100 like 90, 187 right in there, yeah.
All right, 187.
Mm.
So hold on. If I'm 174, you're 180.
190 right in there, yeah.
So like 16 centimeters. Okay, I'm just gonna. About that much
there's
taller.
a bigger difference than that. There's gotta be a bigger difference.
16 centimeters. Hold on, Peter. Is there a ruler in the room?
Don't pull out the ruler.
Is there a ruler in the room?
It's gonna be marked at 2 centimeters. Just watch it. Watch it.
Check. I want to check this. Right. We're gonna organize this. I want you to organize a ruler. Come back in when you can. Right. That's fine. Go. I think there's one in the office. Go grab one because I'm gonna prove this point, man.
No. Okay, wait. 5'6" to centimeters. You're 167. I'm 6'2" in centimeters. I'm 100 and. Why is it converting to 6.166? No, 6.2. Okay. I am 188 centimeters. Yeah, and you're 167. So that's the difference of 20,
No, I'm 174.
20 centimeters.
How does that work out? I'm 174. I am 174
No, you're 170
centimeters.
exactly. You're 170 because you're 5'6", right?
5'8".
Oh, you're 5'8".
Yeah, 5 feet, 8.5 inches.
Mm.
I'll take the half an inch because that's an extra centimeter.
Okay, wait. How many centimeters are you exactly?
174 centimeters.
174.
Yeah.
So you're 5'7", like 5'7" exactly.
174 centimeters. So I am what? 5 foot?
5'7" exactly.
I've just used Google. It says 5 foot, 8.5 inches.
So I'm on Google too. So I'm 10, 15.
This is like nice and big for the camera.
Centimeters.
This is what it came up.
I got the actual. Someone here has got to be good at math that's listening to this. You're going to know who's stupid. All I'm saying is it's not me.
Absolutely.
Okay, funny. but we have a difference of 15 centimeters. That's rough. Within like 3 centimeters up or down. 15 centimeter difference.
Yeah. You didn't see what I did you?
Yeah, I don't want to see what you did.
I love it. That's the thing for me. So you're saying you've never ever seen a keeper that is shorter than 6 feet as an adult.
Yeah.
So how tall were
seen
you?
A keeper that's shorter than 180 centimeters. Never.
Okay.
If someone's shorter than 180,
all right. So how tall were you during like high school and playing in those leagues?
I was 6'6".
6 foot 6'1".
At the age of like 13, 14, I was like 5'9", 5'10".
Get out of town.
I grew early.
I don't believe you for a damn minute, dude.
No. Hold up. My growth spurt. So what was it? 6 years old. 7. Grade 2. Wait, I'm trying to do the math. How old was I in grade 7? In grade 7, you were how old?
Like 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah. That's when I hit my growth spurt. So like I was like 5'10" around then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
5'10".
Mm-hmm.
That's how tall you were around then.
5'10", 2 centimeters.
So what's that?
That is 178.
178.
At the age of 13, 14, I was 170.
Get
Isn't that
out
how
of.
how
I
tall you
don't
are?
bloody believe you, dude. I'm a full-grown
around there.
adult, and you know what? I'm tall compared to people around me, right?
Australians are short then. I'm surprised at how short Australians are.
There's a lot of short people in Australia, definitely. But
Yeah, I'd say Canadians are fairly tall, so.
why is that? Is there like a, is there a history that comes from?
Yeah, we just have to be like strong enough to like tame moose and fight polar bears and stuff. Make igloos, yeah.
And that's something you do on a regular basis,
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
you
You're
should
out
see
in your
my-
backyard, just
You want to see
wrangling
the
with a
polar bear in
moose.
my backyard?
Hey,
You want to see the polar bear in my backyard? I can show you that later off the
Yeah?
podcast if you want. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
He's cool. His
That'd
name's
be cool.
Frosty.
absolutely, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I love this.
Gotcha.
All right, so you went from soccer. You were a keeper. Why'd you get out of soccer? Why don't you keep going on? Why don't you keep moving forward after you turn 18?
It's a good question. That's actually a very good question. So, I played for the best team in the league. We were Coquitlam Metro Ford. And I ended up moving. My parents got divorced. So, I ended up moving to another town, which I won't disclose because I still live there. And I stayed in the same league, but the team I switched to was the worst team in the league, and their attitude and everything was just so poor. And as a goalkeeper, I literally got blamed for every goal that went in, even though the defenders never tracked back or anything. And it just absolutely killed my desire for the game, made me burn out. Like, to say that I got bullied was definitely not an understatement. Like, it was a horrible experience. I did not enjoy it at all, and the kids on that attitude had a horrible team. Or the kids on that team had a horrible attitude, I should say. And it was not enjoyable at all. And the thing that sucked is the year that I moved from my other team, they ended up winning. They won nationals that year.
Oh, wow.
So they were the best team in Canada. So
Wow.
that was that was a little rough to stomach that one. But I was very happy to see them win. They deserved it. They were the best team in Canada. I'm confident of that, and I'm proud to have played for them. But I got burnt out from soccer just playing with that horrible team. So once I got burnt out, I was like, I still have this competitive drive. I'm still pretty good at Rocket League. I'm just gonna like turn my fire and my ambition into that and just try to go pro in that instead.
I find it so interesting, man, because every single time you speak, now I'm like, the similarities are so high. 'Cause,
You think so?
I've got divorced parents as well. I was bullied quite a lot. It was bullying like a big part of, like, did you have that going through high school and stuff like that within friend groups and whatnot, or was it just soccer? Or
I would say it was like only the soccer team I got bullied on, really. Like, I got hazed a bit on my first team that won nationals, but that was only because, like, coming into it, I was the new guy, and, like, to be honest, I wasn't as good as everyone else, so they were, like, really hard on me, but they were very supportive, it was never really, like, bullying me or anything, but the other team was just bad. In high school, I did a lot of drama and theater and acting and all that kind of stuff, and I was a pretty personable guy, so I never really got bullied in high school. I was kind of the friendly guy with everyone, and I was also athletic, so stereotypically no one really picks on that guy, so I was fun in high school. It was just the soccer team. I genuinely despise a lot of my old teammates, but I mean, we were kids, so what can you do?
you reckon, like, if you ran into them face to face today, that the conversation would be different, they'd apologize or anything like that? How do you think that conversation would? I mean, how old are you now, Lyle?
22.
22, right? So we're talking 4 years. Do you think in the last 4 years, do you think they, if you ran into them on the street, that they would, be man enough or mature enough to actually, maybe apologize or recognize, how they were treating you back then?
I don't even think they realized they were doing it, to be honest. That's the thing, is I think they were so ignorant to their own shortcomings and their own attitude towards working hard that they wouldn't even recognize. Like, for example, when coach was having us run laps, I wanted to win, I wanted to improve, and like team fitness was one thing that we needed to work on. And so when everyone was cutting corners, I wouldn't cut corners. And so then, like, everyone would, like, yell at me and stuff, like, oh, come on, stop being, like, coach's pet or whatever, trying to get play time because you're the backup. Like, they'd say stuff like that, and I don't even think they realized that it was just not a cool thing to say, but things like that, right?
And what it was really for you was it was actually discipline because you were taking it seriously. So these guys are just playing and they're like, I think of it like the type of athletes that would potentially go do a training night or the night before a match. They'd go out drinking and, partying and have a good time.
That was my teammates. Those were my teammates. They'd all go out drinking and partying and doing cocaine and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then while you were probably resting and going through a good mindset routine and things like that to make sure that you're in your prime position for the game the next day.
Yeah, I was taking it serious. And then like every fault, some of it's mine, obviously, some of it's theirs, but they'd blame everything on me. And then that hurts your confidence. And then it's just kind of a downward spiral from there. So, yeah, that's basically what happened.
I find that really, really interesting, man. Really, really interesting. What would be one piece of advice you'd give them today?
My ex-teammates.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in a position to give them advice, but if they were open to listening to me, that I just hope that they're doing well and that the attitude they took towards the team and to soccer is the attitude they take towards working hard in their family because their family is dependent on them. So work hard.
Yeah. I like that, man. I like that. I think, because I'm a little religious, I can't say I'm a saint, but, I do have a higher belief system. And one thing for me on my personal development journey personally is I've been spending a lot of time on forgiveness. And forgiveness, I find it interesting. It's not necessarily about forgiving someone for what they did. It's not specifically about that. I'm finding through my most recent self-development journey that forgiveness has more to do with not letting what other people do to you shape who you are.
Yeah.
And that comes with demonstrating kindness and letting go of anger towards the person who did wrong to you, right?
Yeah.
That's really, and that's not like I sat there and I Googled that, right? So that was me reflecting with a journal. I sat there for a little while and I was like, okay, what does this mean? What does forgiveness mean? In the Bible, it says about forgiveness. I'm not trying to go all religious here, right? But, on a principle basis of forgiveness, what does that mean? How do we treat that? And that is quite literally that's letting go of anger and showing kindness to the person that hurt you. In that same instance, it's also looking at it from a perspective of not allowing what others have done to shape who you are. I think that's like a really, really powerful statement. You know what I mean? What's your take on that?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I think that segues perfectly into the attitude that I take towards streaming. I think a lot of people really enjoy my content because despite having thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of haters, I don't know how many I have, but it's quite a bit, right? As you grow in size, you'll always have people who don't like you. And despite those people disliking my content and disliking me, like I always tell my chat, I have a nice little analogy I like to go by. So say some guy comes in the stream and he goes, Mizu, you're fat, you're garbage, get a life, get a real job, right? What I always tell my chat is, guys, go compliment that person. Be nice to them. And then when that person leaves, I'll tell them why I said that because I don't want to say that to their face while they're in here. But the analogy that I use is, if that person had won the lottery today, they'd be ecstatic, right? They'd be so happy. Do you think that person would take time out of their day with how happy they are to come into my stream and say those things? No, they wouldn't even have the capacity to do so because they're so happy.
They wouldn't even be thinking about it, dude.
Exactly. So at what point, work yourself down the ladder of being unhappy, right? And not so happy or slightly happy. At what point down the ladder do you need to be so unhappy with yourself, your own life, whatever's going on for you, that you feel compelled to do that to a complete stranger online, right? 99% of the time, people hating are just not happy themselves, and I realize it's a reflection of them, not of me, and that's helped me deal with a lot of hate, because being in my job, in my position, you deal with a lot of people, a lot of nasty people every day, And so just trying to change that one person at a time is all I can really do, you know?
I get you. What would you say, because I know for a lot of people that are going to be listening, right, what would you say is going to be the difference between someone who has some very astute feedback or criticism versus someone who's just very unhappy and not actually putting anything constructive into the chat? What would be the difference there? Well, and so the thing is, like, sometimes those things can be misconstrued, right? So, like, what would be the difference? Because there's going to be a lot of people listening that are all going to say, well, sometimes when people give me criticism or feedback, I feel like I'm being attacked, right? Yeah. So how do we settle that argument for them to reassure them?
Are you asking me how am I able to differentiate when someone is just trying to give me criticism versus when someone's just being an ass?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, what becomes warranted and what becomes unwarranted, and what do those two things look like?
Yeah. Gonna get philosophical here.
I like philosophical.
Any words that are spoken into existence are not a fact. It's just an opinion, and you can choose to internalize it if it benefits you. And I think always having an open mind to everything and recognizing that even when you're 105 years old, you still won't know 99% of what's on this earth and what's out there. You just won't. So you can always learn more. Recognize that, and recognize even despite someone maybe having a lot less expertise than you, sometimes they'll say something that might be of value to you. So always be open to it, but at the end of the day, decide whether or not it's applicable to you, but still consider it. How it comes across doesn't necessarily matter, because if it comes across in a rude or condescending way, again, that's a reflection of them, not of you. They just haven't learned how to communicate that properly, and that's not your fault. If you've messed up and someone's rude to you, that's because they don't have the capacity to be patient and to talk to you in a kind way. That's not your fault, and everyone makes mistakes.
I like it. I do like it. Criticism versus, someone attacking you. I think, one of the important things to recognize here is, I think you look at the language being used, right? So for me, I kind of look at the language being used. Are they saying things like, oh my God, that's embarrassing? Or, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Or like, what's their language sound like? What I just gave was some very, very simple examples, right? There's some that are more elaborate. I think looking into the language being used. Sometimes even when people fucking swear, they're not swearing at you. They're not swearing to you. They're just, that's part of their vocabulary. And I think so, the reason why I asked this, right, was because I was having a discussion with someone today where they had, an issue with someone providing feedback to them. And they took it as an attack. It made them feel very, very uncomfortable. Yeah. And I always like to, there's two sides to this argument, right? To everyone that I speak to in like a mentorship capacity, business-wise, I always say, listen, if you hear something from someone and oh, that doesn't sound right, or, you have some level of advice to give, don't just give your advice. Ask if they're open to receiving it first.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise it's just unsolicited and they're not ready to hear it, right? Yeah. And I think that's where there's a big difference. If you're in a position where you're trying to provide feedback, constructive criticism, advice, I think it's important that you ask the person if they're open to receiving feedback. And if they're not, that's fine. Don't waste your time, right? Yeah. On the receiving end, if you're in a position where someone provides you with feedback or constructive criticism or advice and you don't feel comfortable with it, I would say stop, take a breath, deep breath, and I would say ask them to elaborate. Tell me more. What else? I would actually endorse it and encourage it. I would say ask people to tell you more. Because what it does is you're able to consume as much knowledge that they have to give, right? And the important part is you take on what you think is right for you. And I think that's what changes things, right? Because a lot of us, we have this ego, right? And the ego's there and it's like, no, I'm right. But sometimes we let go of that ego. We can either learn new things, or in that very same instance, we can decide whether something's not right for us. A good example, right? I've got different mentors, right, Lyle? I've got mentors that I ask for about business advice. I have mentors that I ask about community and tribe. I've got mentors I ask about ethics. But if I go to this is the thing, right? This is where you work out where it fits in. I'll go to the person who's very good at providing ethics, and I'll take on the ethical advice that they give, and I know it's great advice. The only problem is that they try and provide business advice, and I know they're not very good with business advice. And what happens is I've learned, because I've open-minded and I ask questions and I get to the bottom of what they're saying, I've learned that whenever they start talking about business, it goes in here and out there, right? So, and that's one of the massive factors there that's to consider. And I think that's my advice to anyone listening when it comes to, taking on constructive feedback and criticism and things like that. You know what I mean? So
I would say something as well. Just kind of hearing you talk about someone who struggled receiving criticism, feeling that they're getting attacked. That's obviously very personal to me. I have a lot of people who hated my chat. I have a coach who's very hard on me in Rocket League to get better. I grew up getting coached. And so I feel as if when it comes to getting criticism, I'm comfortable within my own skin, if that makes sense, in getting criticized. And so something that I have realized is I typically feel like I'm getting attacked with criticism if it's worded poorly, if I'm not confident in myself in what's being criticized. And so if I'm very confident in myself and I'm confident enough to acknowledge that I don't know everything, yet despite that, I'm still as capable as I am at this, I'm able to acknowledge I can always be criticized and always accept more information, but I'm also confident enough to acknowledge that if I don't feel like that criticism is applicable to me, I don't have to take it, regardless of how it's worded. And so sometimes I'll have people come in my chat and they'll be like, Mizu, every time I come and stream, you're losing, you're dog shit at this game. I absolutely hate it. Like, I just want you to win more games. I look at that and I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, maybe this guy's having a bad day. Maybe he really just wants to see me win. Maybe I need to consider focusing on getting wins more than interacting with my community. Maybe that'll make my viewers more happy. And even though he's swearing at me and calling me dog shit, I still take that, internalize it, think about it, and then go, you know what? Actually, no, I'm going to talk with my community more. That's what this day is about today. And so I consider it, but I choose whether I want to apply it or not. But I don't care about how it's worded because I'm confident enough in myself, if that makes sense.
And you know what? It sounds like you have a heart of gold, right? And I think that's just acquired over time. You've been through the experiences, you've built up a lot of resilience. And so you're in a position where, that can be a situation for you. I know last year when I went through, because I've got 2 kids, and went through a divorce last year and things like that. It was tough, right? I had an identity crisis. I took the whole year off. Shut down businesses, you name it, right? And this year's been rebuilding. And rebuilding, oh my God, it's been great. It's been fantastic. It's actually been a really good year. But that being said, going through that identity crisis, it was also a lack of self-confidence as well. Mm-hmm. I find it interesting, like when I was going out and exploring, and you know what I'm talking about when I say exploring, you go through those.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
No. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But going out exploring, and as I was exploring, I had a lot of confidence because I had a lot of self-confidence in me, who I was, how I treat people in that regard. But when it came to my profession, my career, my status as an entrepreneur, it was really hard. And you're absolutely right, is that maybe someone is having a bad day, maybe they're having a bad month, maybe they're having a bad year, because I can't say that I was there just trash mouthing people in chats on socials. But I can say that lack of confidence really contributed to me specifically. And it was funny because when people started providing criticism and feedback and things like that, I didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
I didn't like it very much. And that had a lot to do with my mindset and what I was going through at the time too. So I'd say like having a strong mindset, doing a lot of do you meditate?
Sometimes. I think meditation's awesome, yeah.
So I find it so interesting, Lyle. Your online persona is so different to the persona on this podcast.
A lot of people don't realize it. Yeah, I act like a little bit more of a shithead online because it is just higher energy. People enjoy it more. It's more entertaining. And, if I sat here with this persona, I think while I played such a high-paced game as Rocket League, it'd
be really fucking boring.
Exactly. And so sometimes people will come in and be like, man, does this guy ever stop talking? He's so annoying. And I'm like, you realize that if I stop talking, A, that's what I want to do because it's less energy, it's not as hard work, and B, my content wouldn't do well. Like, people just don't get that. Yeah. I'm a lot more kind of mellowed out in person. I like kind of chilling a little bit more, so for sure, yeah.
I think there was like a stream you did from a laptop or something like that, and you didn't come on with microphone or anything like that at all. No camera, no mic. You were just playing. I think this is when you went to, was it California?
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about. I've been on a lot of trips. I'm not sure. I think it might have been London. I'm not entirely sure.
But I've personally, because I've got a photographic memory, right? So I remember things very, very clearly. But I remember seeing like your view count around that time was a lot less during those streams.
Yes.
Would I be right in saying that?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does. It's you. It's the persona. I mean, at the end of the day, anyone can pick up Rocket League and start playing it, right? So
even at my level, like there are so many people who are equivalent to, if not better than me at the game, but they don't pull the same numbers because, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but they're boring. Like they don't put in that energy to entertain people, and they don't put in the energy to connect with people.
And Lyle, it's perfectly okay to offend people on this podcast. We don't mind. So
I don't like your haircut, bro.
We maintain a neutral status here, right? We don't take sides. So, at the end of the day, you're welcome to offend someone. That's fine. It's all about free speech around here. So, it's up to them to be, not be offended by some humble feedback.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, you should get a new haircut. Other than that, it's all.
Are you being serious? I reckon it's a.
No, I like it. I'm joking, man. I'm joking. I can't be an ass. It's not me, man. It's not in my Canadian blood.
This is for anyone listening. This is very poor Canadian humor. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be offensive.
That's really offensive. Actually, I gotta go walk my fish. I actually gotta go. I gotta go vacuum my bathtub.
I cannot deal with this humor. Like I reckon, like I can't wait till you have kids. Wait till the dad jokes roll in, man.
Oh, it's gonna be great. I can't wait. Man. I'm starting a list already. Yeah.
There is so much. It just blows my mind how much we have in common. It really blows my mind. The dad jokes, the family history, the sporting history, things like that. You know what I mean? Like that to me really blows me away. It's finding similarities. And I wouldn't be surprised if your audience ends up listening to this and they start learning a little bit about you. And I think, they might find deeper connections with you as well, through finding out some of this. I mean, what's your take on that? Do you think that, have you shared stuff like this before? Or is this kind of the first time people are hearing about it?
Going into 2024, I do want to start doing more things like this. I'm looking to expand my content on a lot of different platforms, Twitch, YouTube. I'm going to start formatting my streams in the format of a video and then take that video, post it on YouTube, and then take that video and make multiple TikToks out of it and just maximize what I do with my time. That way I can do more things like this and really get to connect with my community. So this is something that I have been wanting to do for a while. I just don't have the time. Juggling a professional career and content creation at the same time, you're basically running two businesses by yourself at the same time. So it's not easy.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing for me too. With this podcast, I've had to hire teams, right? Doing all the work yourself. Oh, geez, man. Like it's gotten to a point now because this with our podcast, right? It's as you would know, I've mentioned it to you, is that we do provide a personal branding service where we create content for people from the podcast and things like that, featured in news articles, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things for me is I've had to limit how many podcasts I do personally per month. Yeah. Because I do need more time to do other things. Like I'm getting invitations to do public speaking, hold workshops, do a TEDx or a similar type of event where I speak about entrepreneurship, starting businesses, things like that, right? Yeah. And I can't do them because, like, if you look at my schedule for this week, Monday podcast, Tuesday podcast, Wednesday podcast, Thursday podcast, Friday podcast, and it's all kind of getting crammed in because there's a whole bunch of people that are rescheduled. But I've had to be very strict on my time where I go, because I'm missing out on all these other opportunities to actually grow what I do. So I relate completely with what you're saying. So I've even had to now introduce and start training another person to do podcast interviews. So that way, and what happens is when it comes to me interviewing you, it comes with a much higher price tag. And if you're there and you want to be interviewed by me, because I've been doing it for 15 years, I started on radio when I was 12. I've got a photo of it actually. I'll send it to you. I look like an absolute little shit behind the microphone, right? But it comes with a higher price tag. Because now I'm like, hold on, my time is extremely valuable. My time is extremely important to me. I need to keep growing what I'm doing. I need to keep growing my empire. I want to acquire more companies. Even now, the idea of starting businesses versus acquiring existing ones, I'm more interested in acquiring the existing ones now than starting, because starting actually involves so much work. Yeah. And I can't do those things if I am here every single day doing an interview. So I've had to diversify. I know exactly what you're saying. And I know it's hard for you because you stream every day, right?
Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about, because if I didn't turn my streams into videos that can turn into TikToks, I'd have to stream and then record a video and then record a TikTok. And it's just like, that's 3 versus condensing it into 1. And I know exactly what you're talking about when you say your time being valuable. So many people want coaching sessions with me for Rocket League, and I just don't have the time to give it to them. And just last week, I did, for the first time ever, a massive coaching session giveaway where I gave away 10 sessions with myself. And they were to the 10 highest donators of the stream. And people were very upset. Some very few. I
saw that, right? So they were all complaining about, oh, he's made so much money on this stream, right? Is this where you're going with this, or?
It's just that people are saying like, oh, the stream's just about money and it's not a giveaway because it's for money and all this kind of stuff. Like, you're just so focused on money. But at the end of the day, like, my time to me is valuable, and I price it at a certain point, because there are a lot of things that I could be doing, and I do not have very much free time. And
do you know what my hourly rate is?
What?
Do you know what my hourly rate is?
What is it?
So there's, we've got to understand that in everything that I do, I want to provide value in every corner. So when someone pays me or any of my businesses any money, we want to provide a lot of value. But for me, I have a certain goal and target of what kind of money I want to be making. And so this is where we work backwards, right? So everyone thinks, oh yeah, my hourly rate's $400 an hour. Yeah, something like that. They usually come up with something like that, where it's like, oh, I want my hourly rate to be $400 an hour. My hourly rate is $54,232.19 per hour.
Why is that?
So what I've done is I've said, well, hey, I want to be making $12.5 million, and I'm not going to be making $12.5 million for nothing. I want to provide people value, right? So this is now my hourly rate. I have to affect, not make. It's not like, oh yeah, I work for that money. We sit down and have a one-on-one and I make that money. You have to pay me that money, right? What I do in the business, I have to affect that number. So it means that when I walk in and I hold a 1-hour meeting with my team, whatever meeting that is, whatever it is that I do in that time, has to contribute to creating that number.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Right? So if that's the goal, that's where I want to be, then I have to be doing bigger things. So what I do needs to be at that number.
Yes, 100%.
Right? It has to be at that number. And that's what people don't realize. What would you put your hourly rate as? If you, without hearing that, what would it be? What was it before?
I'd really have to think about that, to be completely honest with you. I don't think I could give you that answer today. Is my mic coming through right now when I'm talking? Or is it
Yeah,
coming
absolutely,
out?
man.
Okay, it's saying it's not registering completely. When I go, is it coming through when I go,
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear that?
Comes through.
Okay.
When you're a little bit quieter, it might sort of cancel out, but no, it's not a problem. You're all good.
Okay.
No sweat.
I'm not sure what I'd say for my hourly rate. I'd really have to think about that. I don't think it's something that I could give now on the podcast because I don't like giving uneducated answers personally. That's just something I believe in. So I'd have to think about it. I don't think I could give you one, but
we'll sit down. We'll workshop it together, right? We'll spend some time
sure.
on it. We've got to work out what that number is, where you want to be with it. And that's the thing, right? And we're going back to your audience and them being a little bit upset. This is just a cash grab. I don't think it's a cash grab. I think at the end of the day, it's, glory to the highest bidder. I mean, at the end of the day, it's how valuable is Lyle's time or Mizu's time to that person? How valuable is it? So, and that's you're going to have people that are like, holy moly, he made all this money, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not hard, right? Because you literally click on the stars tab on the Facebook gaming panel and you can do the math yourself, right? That's all good and great.
Yeah.
But, I think at the end of the day, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that your time is valuable. Could you imagine like if you had an hour meeting with Bill Gates or, Sir Richard Branson, or what are they charging?
Exactly.
What are they charging?
And for me, it's like I'm working probably 10 to 12 hours a day. A lot of people don't see that because I only go live for 2 to 3 hours a day, right? So they only see that, right? And when in reality, I'm working 10 to 12 hours a day. So I barely have free time for myself, and I really, really cherish and value that free time to spend with my friends, my family, to watch a show, to relax, etc. And so
you have time to watch shows?
Barely.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I don't really watch series. I'll watch like a movie or something, but it's to take that free time and to allocate it back to business. To me, that's very valuable time, and so that has to be worth my like some form of financial compensation for me to be worth it. And
not just any kind of financial compensation. It has to be a reasonable, lucrative amount,
Exactly. And so for it to be 10 coaching sessions, that's 10 hours. So 10 hours in the week of my free time is just gone when I probably have in that week maybe 15 free hours to myself in that week. Now 10 of them are gone. I have 5 hours to myself in an entire week now. To give all of those away for free, I think is a little bit unreasonable, especially when nobody has to spend money for those sessions. It's only for those who want to. And on top of that, I'm also very understanding that some people will donate to get the session and not win. And if somebody does that, I will refund them because I don't want someone to pay for a session they don't get. So at the end of the day, it's for people who really, really want it. And they understand they're supporting me, and they understand it's mutually beneficial. So when people go and they say, oh, it's just a cash grab and stuff, I think it's a little bit out of touch in terms
it's fair,
of
right? Like
what I do.
The fact that
right?
you're offering to give people a refund on their money, like that says a lot more than anything else. If it was me, I wouldn't be doing it. I'd be like, listen, you made that commitment, you took the risk. I mean, look, are you going to put $50 on red, and then if you lose, ask for your money back? If that's how I look at it, right? So you're taking a gamble at the end of the day when you go and financially commit to something like that. But for you, I mean, hats off to you. Well done. Clap, clap. Because, and that's without sarcasm, right? Because you are genuinely saying, hey, look, if you don't get it and you want your money back because you put $50 down and you're tight,
Anywhere
then
between like 50
I'll give
to
you your money back.
$100 typically, yeah.
Like how can you sit there and complain that, oh, this is a cash grab when you're literally saying, hey, listen, if you don't get it, I'm happy to give you your money. Like, hello, dude, you got to be kidding me. So for me, like hearing that from people, this is where now I identify the core issue, right? Is they're having a hard time finding the value. They think that it's free to air TV. That's the problem. They think that they turn it on and it's there, it's free to air. And you know what? It is. It is free to air TV because I can turn it on at any time, right? Now, what that is that's, you know, from a business sense, is that's a decrease in the value perception that you have to offer. Why do people watch you, Mizu?
I think it depends on the person, but probably because I'm high energy, I'm funny, or at least I like to think I am. And,
yeah, but why?
I educate people on the game that they're watching.
Yeah, but why?
What do you
I can go to YouTube for that. I can get high energy from Spotify. I can get high energy from...
So you're asking why me out of
No, I mean, like,
else?
why are people lining up to watch a live stream? Specifically,
they want to be entertained. And
they want to be entertained.
I think that my entertainment factor that I bring to people is very unique in comparison to everyone else. I think you really have to look at kind of the market and what is lacking. A lot of really high level players who are around my skill are only good at the game and they just stream it, and that's why people watch them play. And then there are other people who are not good at the game, but they're very entertaining. And so for me, I wanted to combine both. I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to be really good at the game, but I'm also going to be entertaining. I'm going to bring the best of both worlds because no one does that on Rocket League. And so that was my goal, and that's why I think I've done well for myself, is because I've segmented myself in a market in both terms of a platform and uniqueness to what I bring to content in general, that it's done well in both ways. It's kind of why I've cornered the Facebook market for streaming.
Absolutely. I'm not going to decline the fact that you've really built a very successful model around the Facebook platform and what you have to offer. This is where you have to dive really deep, right? This is where now you have to really understand your audience. Why are they there, right? Why are they there? Not because you're entertaining, but because they need to fill a gap. So what is that gap? We need to look deeper into these people and say, why are they watching? For me, it's a way to kind of wind down or look at something else to distract me from a task because I'm taking a break. That's when I get involved, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm there because it's entertaining. You're right. You're right. But why do I show up? What's the reason? Is it because I want to try and get time away from my wife? You know, is it because I'm trying to speak for everyone else and generalize here, right? Is it because when I'm on your stream, I feel like I'm connected with you and I'm speaking to a friend? Mm-hmm. What is that underlying reason that they're there? Now, when you start working out those details, I'm not expecting you to answer, right? I'm giving you some hot tips. But now when you understand those really deep underlying details, that's when you start expanding. And that's when you start looking at what is valuable to my audience? How can I add more value to them? And so that's where we see, you know, those people that go, oh, this is just a cash grab. You'll start seeing those opinions disappear very quickly, because you're focusing on the value, and value doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be something that's specifically money related. Value can be a number of different things. Like you said, you got coaching sessions and things like that, and that's cool. Like there's some pretty cool ways to add value. But how do you add value on every stream that you do? So that way everyone that comes along walks away going, wow, not just from the entertainment, but more. So in everything that I do, I'm always looking at ways to really hype up the value. One example, we get a lot of female interviewees, and I went, and this does cost me money, and I went, how can I make what we do more valuable? The price of the service increases, right? We make more profit. but that person feels the amount of value that we give them. And so I organized for a hair and makeup artist to be here for every single podcast. Sorry, today, Lyle, you missed out. Right?
Yeah, I would have. I need it, man. I need it. Can you actually fly them out here?
Yeah, well, if I could have, I probably would have. But I don't even think these makeup artists would have done it this close to Christmas either, right? So
That's fair.
For sure.
Fair.
But so I've organized that. And I'm like, yeah, this is valuable. This is the value we provide to you. And they appreciate it. And that's why we do things like, when our interviewees come in, they sit down, there's a grazing platter, there's fresh fruit, there's sparkling water, there's still water, not just from the tap, it's bottled still water. We really give them this experience where they go, wow, where am I? And for anyone else, you could look at this and go, it's just a podcast. Right? You could look at this and say it's just a podcast, but no, it's not just any podcast, because every person that comes into this space walks away feeling so empowered. They walk away feeling so appreciated, so loved and nurtured. Like, there is so much that goes into what we do here, right down to the conversations, right? So even when you're waiting outside that room, you're sitting down with Nora, you would know, right? She's such a lovely soul. It's hard to get angry at her even, right? Yeah. I don't think I've ever once been mad at Nora, right? But you sit down with Nora and it's just so welcoming. It makes you so comfortable. It gets rid of the nerves. And that's all part of the experience. That's part of the value that we provide. So when it comes down to you to be able to eliminate more people having those kind of, let's call them diverse opinions about, you making money from doing this full time, right? To eliminate that, there needs to be more value to those people. Does that make sense?
Yes, I completely understand.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about it while you were talking, and I would say that obviously every streamer, including myself, can do better in being able to provide value, and I think that really focusing on these core principles and kind of outlining exactly what they are for me in my streams, I think will allow me to really focus on them rather than being unconscious while doing it. Is now in my conscious mind. But I would say that the value that I bring and that a lot of streamers bring, especially this one, is FOMO, fear of missing out. A lot of people want to be up to date, informed, be able to talk to their friends about what's going on. And when you have a live streaming service that a lot of people watch, fear of missing out. If you're not there, you're going to be like, oh, what happened? And so bringing that is big. Being able to educate people while I play and being able to provide and answer questions that they specifically have and give them that one-on-one feedback in the comment section while they talk, I think is another value that they will receive. They feel like, oh, wow, this top 100 player has really helped me improve. They walk out of it feeling like, I can do this now. Another one would be that I'm really high energy. I like to think that I'm funny, all that kind of stuff. And so people walk out of the streams with a smile on their face, and they walk out feeling lighter, happier, that type of thing. And so really focusing on those three core values, I think will really bring a lot of value to my stream. I think that I already do a good job of that, but I think really kind of acknowledging that now will allow me to do an even better job going forward for the future streams. Absolutely. And really hone in on it, right? So, poll your audience. I think we talked about this, sort of pre-interview, but right now you put up a poll and you get people to vote on things. And sometimes it's just like whatever comes to mind and you're just like, yeah, done, fuck it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it'll be some silly stuff, and that contributes to the persona, right? So that does contribute to the persona. But what else can you ask your audience that makes them feel more connected with you? And what can you understand more about them? And you know what the best thing to do for that is, dude? I'm not going to lie. ChatGPT. Go to ChatGPT and say, I want to do a psychological survey where I poll my audience, tell them all about you, who you are, what you do. Can you please come up with 20 poll items that I can use in my streams to understand more about my audience? Do that. Do that because, obviously it's very easy if you're watching and there's 300 concurrent viewers at the time, 400, 500, 1,000, to click a button, right? For them to go away from the stream, click on a link, fill out a survey. Okay, that's a bloody headache. But for you to be able to do it just quickly, one click, while you're watching the stream. Yeah. The more you get to understand about them, the more you get to refine what that value looks like for them. Yeah.
You know?
100%.
And value doesn't always have to be your time. Remember that. Value doesn't always have to be your time, what you do, what you say. Value can be so many other things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
would you be able to provide an example of that, Dean? I think I know what you're saying, but provide an example of that. I think some people may not be following what you're saying when you say that.
Gotcha. But you're following, right? Or are you?
No, yeah, I'm following. There's a lot of ways that you can provide value that's not necessarily your time.
Cool. So value that you can provide from you is you partnering with brands that they use every day.
Yeah.
Right. And so we've already kind of brushed on this on a previous conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How else can you provide value? Just by being here, you get this. And it's not like, we're not talking about, oh yeah, you get 10% off a gaming PC because, out of, let's just say 10,000 people watch a live stream, just hypothetically speaking, you'd know your numbers better than I do. 10,000 people watch a live stream. And of those 10,000 people that watch a live stream, maybe 5 of them need a new computer.
Yeah.
So is that valuable to 10,000 people? Or at least the majority of them? Or is that valuable to 5 people?
It's valuable to a very small cohort.
A very small, right? So it's working out and that's why I say use ChatGPT, right? It's a great way for you to just kind of, what actually it's good for is that it'll start guiding you and then you'll start coming up with your own ideas. It's really good to get that creative, flow going for you. You'll start thinking on your own.
Like we talked about before, I don't want to, reveal exactly what it is that I'm looking at doing, but I am starting up a business. And ChatGPT was instrumental for me to be able to find out the name of our business. I would say, and give me 50 names for companies in this area that has this specific, again, I can't be specific with what I asked him to because I can't. You'll
start revealing the answers, right?
Exactly.
For sure.
But ChatGPT was instrumental in us being able to kind of get that off the floor and come up with ideas for what we wanted to name it.
Yeah, and that's, you know what I mean? That's awesome, right? So using ChatGPT more to your advantage. The beautiful part with ChatGPT as well is that when you download all of those poll answers, literally upload the data to ChatGPT and say, tell me more about my audience. And it will tell you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to do the hard work of trying to figure it out. It will do that work for you.
It's very powerful. And you know what I was thinking to myself, Dean? Actually, earlier this morning, I'm very much business minded. I want to invest, I want to get in early. And so I was thinking, how do you invest? Do you know, Dean, how do you invest in ChatGPT? Because it's not publicly traded.
How do you invest in it? All right, you do something smart. Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
You can't really invest in ChatGPT. You can invest in Google, who has Bard AI. You can invest in Meta, who has their own AI. In fact, if you start a Facebook group today, it actually starts it with AI. So it says, come up with a group description with AI. Bang, there you go. I did it today, right? We just launched a new group that, for Nora's business, for Nature's Defense. And bang, we're like, make money with mold. Bang, there you go. And I didn't even come up with that headline, right? The Facebook AI did. I'm like, hey, this is what I want the group name to be, and I want it to be about this. And then it went, sure, how about this? I'm like, sweet, works for me, right? So there are publicly traded companies that have AI. How else do you, obviously ChatGPT is the leader. Here's something else you could do. Great little concept for you, right? Great little concept for you. Here's something else you could do. 2 nights ago, I woke up, 3 a.m., I had a dream, and it was lucid as fuck, right? When I say lucid, it was lucid as fuck. So at 3:30 in the morning, and for me, it was actually, I take note of this. So I may be religious, I'm also a little superstitious. And, I looked into some underlying meanings of what my dream meant. Yeah. And normally I go to my sister. She's great with this stuff. But it was 6 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, but I didn't get an answer and I really wanted one. So I pumped it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT comes out with an amazing answer, right? And it got me thinking. I'm like, you know what? ChatGPDream.com. It was available. I registered it. I went to my web team. Like obviously I have the luxury of the fact that I have, staff members that work for me that have different facets. Went to my web team. I said, great, I want you to get that up and running. Connect it with ChatGPT and call it ChatGPT Dream. And here's the rules and criteria that you need to give it to assess someone's dream and what it means. Let's put a paywall behind it. They give a brief summary for free. And if you want to find out more detailed info, $5. Pay now. Then get the rest of the answer from ChatGPT. That was done within like 48 hours, right? It's not live just yet, but it was done within 48 hours.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that we need to do training the AI side of things. So you can use ChatGPT in other ways to actually invest. And what you're doing, instead of investing in ChatGPT, for example, use that money to spend on Google ads. And that's as simple. You know how many people, Lyle, that actually search for dream interpretations in the US, just the USA alone, every single month?
You want me to guess a number?
Yeah, go for it.
I'd say 7 million.
No, not that high. 92,300.
Well, you made it seem like it was going to be in the millions, but...
For sure.
I'm surprised it's... Like, 92,000 is a lot, but I'm surprised it's not more than that.
Absolutely. Let's take 1% of that audience, 920 people.
Mm-hmm.
If 920 people pay you $5, let's just say 1,000, just to square numbers. If 1,000 people pay you $5, how much money do you have?
You're asking me to do math here, Dean. $5,000.
It's it. There's a thing we all need to do in business, Lyle, and that's I love maths. You have to love maths in business. It's just, I hate maths. I dropped it in high school. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this shit. And then I've got into business and realized I have to love it. So 1,000 people pay $5. How fucking much money do you have? Don't get the fucking calculator. I know exactly what you're doing.
I already said $5,000. I was double checking. Yes.
1 times 5.
Yeah, I already said $5,000.
After you fucking calculated it.
No, I said that earlier. Check the recording. I said it earlier.
All right.
And then you asked again, so I thought I was wrong, so I double checked it.
I'll take your word.
You're gonna have to check it back.
$5,000, Lyle. $5,000. What's an extra $5,000 a month worth to you? And it just sits there. You don't do anything with it. Google ads run. Maybe like once a month, someone goes in there and checks it and optimizes the ads. But apart from that, it's running. It just sits there and runs. $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
What does that do for you?
It's a lot of things you can buy from the dollar store. No, I'm just joking. Well, there's obviously, for me personally, my goal is to invest in real estate. So having an extra $5,000 a month is a lot of wiggle room for me to be able to put down another down payment on a property and be able to rent it out and build equity there and either flip it or pay for it, whatever I want to do, right? So that's definitely
for sure.
A sizable income per month, right? It's just like
absolutely.
You said, it only took you 48 hours. It's about thinking about that and executing on it, right?
But can I ask you something, Lyle?
Yeah.
What would make you more money? The house? Per month. We're talking cash, right?
Yeah.
Not equity. Equity is good when you want to go and get something else with money, with finance, right? So if you got to finance, got to get a mortgage, you got to get some kind of loan of some kind, and then you loan that money against the equity, sure. But when you loan that money against your equity, it's still not your money. You still pay it back, right? So when it comes to cash, how much money is a rental property going to make you?
Not much.
Not much. So maybe if you're renting it out, if your mortgage repayments every week is $600 and you're renting it out for, let's just say you're renting it out for $500, your mortgage repayments are $400. How much are you making at the end of every week? $100?
$100, yeah. It's not much. And for me with real estate, my goal isn't to necessarily make a lot of money per month. The goal is not cash flow. It's to build equity. It's for me, it's more of a safety net, if that makes sense. I'm young and I understand that there's a very good possibility with where I live in Vancouver that the real estate market will only go up, and investing in it as early as possible with the money that I have now from streaming and the very fortunate position I'm in, investing it at the age of 22 is going to be very smart. And as I get older, as I've kind of invested my money, as I have that safety net, then I'll start expanding into different businesses, more risky models that will make me hopefully more money. Right? The idea is not cash flow with real estate. It's, like I said, a safety net for sure.
Having the investment properties is brilliant. right?
Yeah.
So it is actually a great thing to have. So I'm not denying it, but what I am saying is that business makes more money than property at the end of the day.
100%.
So, when it comes to selling the property and you've got $200,000 equity left, that's great because you have $200,000 in your pocket. But what actually is very similar? So let's just say $5,000 a month, your running cost is, I can tell you right now, your running cost for that business would be like maybe $200 a month between ads and actually running the system, right?
Yeah.
In that $200 a month that you're spending, you're left with $4,800. So now this is where I'm terrible at maths. No, I love maths. I don't hate maths. Now
Wait, let me do it before you calculate. Let me do it in my head. What's the number here?
I'm watching those hands. Hands up in the air, right?
Yeah. Go.
So $4,800
Times what?
for 12 months.
4,800 times 12?
Yeah.
That would be 40,000 and no. I'm doing math. Hold up. 40,000 by 10, right? And then 8 by 10, that's 48,000 over 10. And then 4,800 times 2 would be 10,600, which would be 50. God dang it, dude. I lost the numbers in my head. Somewhere around like 58, 59,000, somewhere near there.
57,600.
Yeah, I lost the numbers in my head, but I got close. You
were very close. I do appreciate that. So 57,600. Right? Now, on $57,600, the general multiplier for selling a business is times 3. Now, with real estate, right, so it's always going to hold a level of equity and value. Business can always go downhill. That's completely acceptable and understandable, right? But it's our jobs as entrepreneurs to identify, those different changes, when you should leave, when you should exit. So, but the regular multiplier is 3, right? So that's $172K. It's $172,800.
Yeah.
That's if you sold the business today. So it's been running. It makes $5,000 a month. It makes $4,800 a month profit. $172K is your sale price. That's cash in your pocket.
Yeah.
The same way if you were to sell a house, and the difference is, like I said, business has more risk, whereas investment properties is a little less risk and there's still changes in the market that go up and down, right? They go and always change, but they're always pretty consistent and predictable. In business, it's not as predictable, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, though, in that time frame, if you sold your house, let's just say 2 years goes by, you have a house, you have a business, right? One of them is making you $5,000 a month positive cash flow. The other one's making you $400 a month positive cash flow.
Yeah.
So you're taking home the $5,000 every month.
Yeah.
Right? This one, you're taking home $400 every month. But then on the flip side, when it comes to selling it, let's just say there's equity growth in your property by $172,000 in that 2-year time frame. Yeah. The difference is you get $172,000 in 2 years, right? From here. Plus your $400 a month that you make, which is, I'm not even going to do the math on that. But then you've got this number.
Yeah.
And we're going to times
4,800.
Yeah. So we're going to times that now by 5 because for 5 years you've been taking home the bread. So where are you? 172,000 in 2 years versus?
Can't see it. It's kind of blurry. 268, is that what it says?
288,000.
Yeah.
Let me get the camera to focus on it. 288K. 172, 288K. You're $100,000 more in the 2-year time frame because you've actually taken home that money. Or you haven't taken it home and you've been smart. You put it in a trust account from a holding company. That's a whole conversation for another day. But this isn't financial advice either, guys.
Day 2 of the podcast tomorrow. We'll be covering all of that.
Yeah, for sure. I have to get an accounting professional, a structures professional in to be able to have that conversation, right? But that's your take-home cash, 288 versus 172. So for me, and like I said, each to their own investment types. But I'm just sort of opening up a can of worms for you to explore and discover and think more about when it comes to investments. having the property, I don't doubt. When I say, like, even for me, I've got investments, et cetera, and so on. 100%, I'm on the same page as you. You want to have investment properties and diversify your basket, what's in your basket, and where you where you invest your money. But I've always found that business always has a higher return. Yes, higher risk and more work involved, but very high returns if you do it correctly. And that's the important part. A lot of people go out, they venture out, and they fuck it all up, right? Because they don't have those core foundations and principles they need to actually make it successful. So if you do it right, really lucrative, very, very lucrative. So, and that's the same time frame. So I look at that. But look, I want to go on to a different topic, dude. Lyle, what's the future of Lyle? What's the future of Mizu? What's in stall for everyone listening? Where are we heading?
Hopefully Mars.
Yeah, little Elon Musk.
Yeah, no. Are you talking immediate future, or are you talking 5-10 years?
Okay. Like, so for me, when I do future discussions, I don't do goals. I do visions.
Yes.
So goals are like, for me, milestones to the bigger vision.
Yeah.
Because when people set goals and don't achieve them, they get really disappointed in themselves, right?
Yeah.
So what's 1 year look like for Lyle/Mizu, right? So when I say Lyle and Mizu, I say Mizu is your professional profile. Lyle is you. So what's Lyle look like in a year's time from now? And what does Mizu look like in a year's time from now? That's what I want to know.
Okay. You said 1 year, and what was the other number?
Let's call it 5.
Okay. 1 year and 5 years.
Let's start with 1.
Okay. 1 year from now, I am going to be a lot larger on YouTube. I'm going to have started to, over the course of from now until next year, expanded my catalog of quality long form videos. Right now I'm only doing shorts, and that will allow me to start raking in passive income. I won't be making much money right away. It'll be an investment, but over the course of time, I'll start having that passive income from ad revenue on YouTube. Same as increasing my following over on Twitch. By the end of next year, I'm hoping to have around at least 50,000 followers on Twitch. That is the goal. So overall, my vision for content creation will be one of expansion in 2024. So expansion on all the different platforms and ways that I can monetize that and grow my income per month, because right now it's been a lot of kind of spending to be able to get there. So I want to be able to kind of afford that and make a lot more money than what I am right now. Because right now I'm only making money from Facebook, basically. If I can be making money from Facebook, from Twitch, and from YouTube, I now have those 3 revenue sources, but I also have the opportunity to get money from sponsorships from those 3 sources as well, rather than just one. That's 3 times the sponsorships, 3 times the sponsorship money, and 3 times the revenue as well, which again will allow me to invest in real estate to start off. So that's my goal with content creation. It's kind of my vision and where I see myself next year. And then on the pro side of it, I see myself being able to be a bottom 16 contending team in the RLCS, assuming there is 16 teams in RLCS by the end of next year. That's my goal. I want to have made RLCS. So my vision is one of competing at the bottom of the professional scene for the first time, rather than just being a very high up semi-professional within Rocket League, and then one of expansion in 2024. That is what I want personally.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I have a question. And I think, I think a lot of, the people listening would be, burning to ask, right? Because I'm all about making money. I run a business. I love money. Why? Because I get to do more things. I get to provide more value to people. You make money, and yes, I'm always thinking about spending it, right? So I know for you, didn't you recently, I think I remember you mentioning that you invested like $10,000 in new equipment to improve the quality of what you're doing. Is that right?
Earlier this month, I have invested about $10,000, yeah.
Yeah. So like there's always going to be business investments and improving content, doing better things, providing more value in a number of different ways. But I also look at, whatever's left, what can I contribute, right? So I think a lot of people, what I think they would be asking is, what do you plan? Let's just say within 12 months from now, you start earning more ad revenue from YouTube, you start earning more income. What's your plan to do with the money?
Well, right now I'm spending a lot more money than I'm making in certain aspects. I'm making a lot more money than I'm spending when it comes to Facebook. That's my main revenue stream. But when it comes to paying for editors and paying for a channel manager, paying for equipment, right? All that kind of stuff. I'm spending a lot of money and I'm in the red on a lot of different things that I'm trying to do business-wise right now. So for me, my main goal is to be able to make enough money where I'm making 2 to 3 times what I'm spending, at least. When I'm in that position, I want to start saving my money so I can put a sizable down payment down on a house. Once I have achieved that goal, then I want to put a second down payment on another property and then live in the basement of that one and rent out upstairs. So I'm covering a small chunk of the mortgage. Once I've achieved that, then I'll be in a position where I'll probably start giving back more money in charity if I end up achieving that one day. And looking to, I'm confident I will, but I don't want to come across as egotistical. That's just something I've had to learn as being a streamer. If you sound too confident in yourself, like your voice in your own head that successful people have, if you say that, a lot of people in this world are not confident in themselves, and it sounds to them like arrogance. And that's not how I want to come across. So I suppress that inner voice and on purpose when I vocalize it. But to myself, I'm very confident I will achieve that. But yeah, so giving back money and expanding businesses. I want to start investing in different businesses, starting up new businesses. And then when I get to your point, buying businesses like you were talking about. So that is kind of the vision, the goal, and what I want to do with my money for sure.
This is where you're going to learn a lot, right? Because for me, buying businesses, we'll talk about it off stream. We'll talk about it off the podcast.
All right.
But there's a method to it, right? And if I knew what I knew today about acquiring companies and businesses around the globe, there's borderless with this, right? In fact, in Canada and the US, it's so much easier than it is here in Australia. There's actually 17 times more businesses for sale in the US than there is in Australia, which is that's a massive number.
100%.
So let's go into 5 years. Let's go into 5 years. What's your 5-year vision?
My 5-year vision. So my mom actually asks me this question all the time.
I love that.
And it's very hard to answer. Now, it's very hard to answer because the industry that I'm in is very versatile. So, for example, the video game that I'm playing right now, it could just die in popularity tomorrow, right? I'm now out of a video game to stream. I could get banned on Facebook tomorrow. So it's very hard to say. I
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, all right, man. But with if everything goes well, I would like to say that I will be the best player in the world in 5 years from now, playing professional Rocket League. And that obviously, if I'm the best player in the world, my content will take a massive boost. So I'm huge on YouTube. I'm huge on Twitch. I'm huge on TikTok, huge on Instagram, huge on Facebook. At the peak, do I retire? If I retire from playing professionally, I take a step back. I become a caster. I become a coach, or I purely focus on content. Once Rocket League dies out, I want to be at a position where I'm big enough to where I can step into any other game and take maybe 30% of my following with me. Because if 30% come over from 3 million, I still have 1 million, right? So that is my goal. I want to expand as much as I can with this game. And then when it eventually dies off, I'm going to get on the next new thing. And maybe that's GTA 6. Maybe that's the next Fortnite. Who knows, right? But I want to maximize as much as I can with this game. And that's what I would say to anyone who wants to become a streamer or a content creator. Focus on one game. You look at all the variety creators out there, XQC, Shroud, right? All those guys. You look at XQC, he was a professional Overwatch player. You look at Shroud, he was one of the best FPS players in the world. I believe it was, CSGO? He was one of the best in the world. And so when you're the best in your game, in a popular game, and you've made it, you can then segue into doing other things. You cannot start doing everything. You can't, unless you're very, very niche within that, like Mr. Beast was. He did everything, but he did such aggrandized challenges that it worked, right? So that is my advice to anyone wanting to do content creation. There's a lot of money online to be made with content creation as well, so definitely do not sleep on that.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned Mr. Beast, because there's actually a lot more to what he's done on a business level. If you look deeper into it, he's actually not the business brain behind what he does. But so the thing is that Mr. Beast had some people that worked with him on building out that empire. So you got to remember, like, dude, you would know how fucking hard it is to create content and you're the show, right? Every single day, you don't have time to manage your business affairs, really. Like, it's hard. You know what I mean? It is really hard. But listen, man, look, I think we're drawing to an end here. Was there anything that you sort of want to put out to our audiences? Is there anything left unsaid?
Honestly, no. I think that I work in such a unique industry in content creation and online. I would just say if anyone is looking to expand their empire, they're looking to start a new business, I would highly recommend considering something to do with content creation and online, because at the end of the day, even if you're not making a lot of money with it, you're still marketing, and marketing is one of the most important tools when it comes to business, because even if your business idea is shit, if you're super famous, it will sell. For example, Belle Delphine selling bathwater. Like, it's literal bathwater, but she made millions of dollars because she marketed it well. You will also learn a lot of things about marketing through content creation, and content creation is one of the most powerful tools to market, right? You're not having to pay for ads because you're already so big that you are your ad. That is Logan Paul's whole thing with Prime. He doesn't need to pay for ads because he is the ad. KSI is the ad. They're so big that they're not going into the red to have to sell it, and they're just making boatloads of money. So if you are someone in business, consider content creation. If you are someone who's considering content creation, understand that you need to find where you fit in the market. You need to find a platform that works for you. You need to understand why. You need to find what your niche is, and you need to stick to it very religiously and have a lot of discipline, because at the end of the day, you're your own boss. You know, if you're feeling sick one day, I don't need to come in, I'm not feeling the best. Would your boss give you the day off? No, so go into work. But a lot of people just don't look at it like that, right? When you're your own boss, it is a lot easier to be easy on yourself, right? A lot of people don't realize that the power that comes with money and being your own boss is you have to be very mentally resilient.
Record, I did not pay Lyle to say all of that either, because, you know, you basically described our entire business model with LaunchDay. But for personal branding, I just want to make it very clear that he was not paid to do that. What we're looking at here,
hashtag ad,
right? But, you know, what we're looking at here is we are looking at a live stream gamer who is creating content on a daily basis, who has made a name for himself under an alias. Like, my alias is WhoDean. Your alias is Mizu, right, Lyle? And it is because we can leverage those audiences. We can launch anything new to market and people will buy it. Elon Musk is a great example. It came out, what was he selling? A bloody a flamethrower, right? Flamethrower.
most genius things he did to market the Cybertruck.
$20.
You know what he did?
Deposit down.
He's like,
yeah, you tell the story. Go for it.
No. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about how he got the name in front of everyone. How everyone knows about the Cybertruck is that viral clip where he's like, "Oh,
It's
the Cybertruck will have bulletproof." And he took a rock and threw it against the window and it broke. He's like, "Oh, that was a fluke," and then did it to the other one and it broke. He knew that if he did that, all his haters, all the people that don't like him, would publicize that. And so he gets his angle where he's publicizing it, and then he gets the people who don't like him who's publicizing it. And so he gets this truck in front of everyone. And now he doesn't need to pay for ads because everyone knows about the truck.
Exactly right. And it's being smart about it, right? Being really, really savvy and being witty about it. And that's what I like about it, right? That's what I really like about his approach. Because everyone's like, oh yeah, we're waiting for this bulletproof glass. He did that on purpose. There is no way in hell, because it was a steel ball, right? Now the thing is, tempered glass, right? Well, actually, even tempered glass, really, a force like that shouldn't break it. You could throw a baseball at tempered glass, right?
Yeah.
So he's thrown this big metal shot put sphere at it. He's put a completely different glass in there that's made it just completely weakened. Either that or there were like really pinpoint pressure points on that ball when he threw it that made it shatter, one or the other. If it was bulletproof, it does not work that way. It does not work that way.
Yeah, and I want to say something. This is actually applicable to content creation as well. This is something that I've personally done. I've decided to intentionally leverage my haters to allow me to succeed. And what I mean by that is, personally, the Facebook algorithm works heavily based on reactions and engagement. And so when someone hits the thumbs up button or someone comments, if the Facebook AI deems it an actual comment, not just a bot, not just someone saying LOL, but like actually typing out a sentence and it's engaging in conversation, it will reach more people. And so what I'll do sometimes is I'll play ranked 1v1. I'm a very high level 1v1 player. And what I'll do is the first game of the stream, everyone watches back the first game. You're not going to skip to the third game, right? You're going to watch back the first game as you scroll through the feed. So what I'll do is instead of queuing ranked 1v1, I'll queue casual. I'll play someone a lot worse than me. I'll play terrible, and then I'll just go, oh, he's getting lucky, and I'm lagging, or I'm just not having a good game, or whatever. And then the title will be like top 100 player, but I'm missing the ball. And so people will go like, how is this guy top 100? He's trash, blah, blah, blah. But those are the type of people who never would have watched the second game anyway. And so that creates conversation, and it allows me to get that video out there. And the people who hate on me, now I get them commenting. Now I get them to actually support me. And so that model is applicable to a lot of things.
You know what I like? I like to narrow this down to any publicity is good publicity. It's circumstantial. Like if you know you're in the news because you shot a puppy, maybe that's not a good look, right?
That you kind of went extreme there, man. You didn't have to be so specific, but I mean, yeah.
So when we say that any publicity is good publicity, like if you shot a puppy, okay, maybe that's a little too far, but. You know, if it's something as simple as, oh yeah, it's bulletproof, and then bang, it shatters. Okay, we've got to work on that. We're going to fix that in post, right? That's bad publicity, but it does good. It spreads the word, right? So, when we say any publicity is good publicity, I think that's such an applicable statement in this context. You know what I mean? Lyle, listen, man, everyone that is listening to this podcast in the car, in their office, in the shower, on the toilet, wherever it is.
Sam in the shower. Sam, this one's for you, Sam in the shower. Imagine this guy named Sam listening to this in the shower. How freaked out he is right now.
100%. We're going to clip that. We're going to post it. Are you a Sam that listens in the shower? We're going to find him. If he's not listening, we're going to find him, right?
Oh, he'll listen. We'll get him.
We're coming for you, Sam. Listen, for all those people that are out there listening and have listened all the way through now, tell me and tell them, how can they find you, Lyle?
If you Google Mizu, so Mizu actually means water in Japanese, so you're going to have to slap an R and you're going to have to slap an L at the end of that. So Mizu and then RL for Rocket League. So Mizu RL, you Google that. I'm popping up on Instagram, popping up on TikTok, popping up on YouTube, popping up on Facebook. It's actually GG Mizu on Facebook, but it'll pop up when you say Mizu or Mizu Rocket League on Facebook as well. So I'm on a plethora of different sites. I only stream on Facebook, so if you'd like to watch my live streams and where I really get down to business, it's only going to be on there. But I do upload clips to YouTube, TikTok, and and Instagram as well.
Nice. Love it, man. That's awesome. Lyle, thank you so much for your time today. I know, what time is it right there in Vancouver right now?
It's 4 in the morning, actually.
Is it actually, or no?
Actually.
You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm just kidding. It's 11.
It's not too bad. It's like 6 o'clock here. So it's like a 5-hour difference.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's only like 15 minutes past my bedtime. I'm going to get some warm milk and put on my baby bonnet and go to sleep here.
Oh, my goodness. All the dads that are listening to this are going to have a bloody good time, let me tell you. But
yeah, these jokes are for the dads.
Absolutely. I love it, man. I love it. I love your vibe. I love your energy. Thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate your time. And mate, you know what? By all means, you're very welcome to reach out anytime, talk about business, things like that. You know, you're very welcome to run things by me. I really don't mind, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate that offer. I will definitely take you up on that. When
Absolutely.
the time is
for
right.
sure. So, Lyle, mate, thanks for coming by. We're gonna wrap it up, man. Like I'm in some deep thought myself. I was thinking about the content piece that we were talking about and the publicity side, and now it's got me thinking, right? So now I'm in a spiral of thought, and I can promise you.
Yeah, you can never be too creative with content and thinking of ways to
Absolutely.
Get it out there,
So guys, if you want to reach out to Lyle, if you want to go and find out more about Mizu, head on over to Google, type in Mizu RL. Go onto Facebook, go onto Twitch, go onto TikTok, YouTube, x.com, right? Formerly Twitter.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as well. Or
Absolutely.
x.com, my fault.
Guys, head out there. Go and check him out. Check out his content. Don't forget to support his content as well. If you've never sent stars before in your entire life, send some stars. Put $2 in the chat. It won't hurt you, right?
Tell me you're from the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Go jump on the podcast. You know, spend $2. You know, go and support his cause and what he's doing. It sounds awesome what he's doing. I really enjoy what he does. Lyle, thanks for coming on. And for everyone that's listening at home, if you'd like to appear on the podcast, if you'd like to reach out, if you had a question, if you had anything at all that was just absolutely provoking thoughts and having fleeting thoughts running through your mind, we do want to hear about it. So we do very much so welcome any emails through to support@launchday.au. And you are very welcome to message us. You're very welcome to message me. Just look up WhoDean up on Google or Facebook or any of the other social platforms. Reach out. Send through a video even. I love videos. We can do a video chat. You can go and message me with a video. I'll reply with a video. I love that kind of shit. Reach out. And if you wanted to ask more details about Lyle, if you want to get in touch with Lyle and you need some help with that, you can reach out to us as well. We're more than happy to facilitate those discussions. What a brilliant episode. I love this. I really do.
Brilliant. Very Australian slang there. What a brilliant episode. Bloody hell. What a Bob's your uncle. What an episode.
I love it, man. I love it. Lyle, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it, man. And we're going to catch you all on the next podcast. We'll see you soon.